There are so many bored people out there. Watch this video if you want to learn what are 6 very bad date ideas. My name is Dana and I own a platform called Better Topics where we regularly help hundreds of couples experience more love, joy and connection in a very fun way. Now the idea for this video actually came to me earlier today. After I started working, I just realized today is date night. And because my husband actually came up with ideas of what to do the last few weeks, I thought it might be, nice of me to actually start thinking of something that we could do. And although we encourage people to do a lot of fun things together, once you've tried most of them, you kind of want something new. Also, because of the, situation that's out there that we all know about, the choices are quite limited now. There are so many things you cannot actually do that we would have normally enjoyed doing. So, what did I do? Well, I started researching some really good date ideas. And I found some that they're just crazy. Let's get into them. Now, the first one, although it might not be crazy, I don't really think it's a good idea, and it is watching a movie. Now, either you want to watch a movie at home or going to a cinema, if they're still open where you live. Watching a movie is actually a pretty bad date idea, purely because it actually doesn't really help you communicate with your partner. Don't get me wrong, I love movies and I could watch movies all day long if I could. Yes, it might relax you and your partner, especially if it's a comedy. It might actually leave you in a good mood, but you cannot really talk during this time. In my opinion, it's actually quite similar with being on your phone whilst you're next to your partner and them being on their phone. Basically, yes, you are there, you're doing something, but you're not interacting with each other, which normally you should do, especially on date night, because that is special time for you two as a couple, where you should focus on, growing the relationship and catching up with your partner to see, how was their week, how was their day, what they want to do next, and stuff like that. Also, if you go to a cinema, the only thing you can actually do is maybe share your popcorn. But if you're anything like me, you won't do that. I'm not sharing my popcorn. Now, the second very bad date idea is apple picking. Now, since when apple picking is a date idea, I don't know. I mean, I used to call it slavery back in the day when my parents made me do it. Now, bear in mind, I did grow up on a farm, so we had to do that every year. And trust me, that was no fun. Or maybe, if I think about it, my grandparents used to do it as well. And maybe this is one of the reasons why their relationship lasted for like 40 years, I think, or more. They were doing a lot of apple picking, yes, and some corn picking by hand as well. But I don't think they've seen this as a proper date idea. I think they just called it work. But I've seen online there are so many places where you can actually go and pay so you can pick some apples. I think I'm in the wrong business here. Also, trying to imagine how the apple picking would go as a date. I think some people would actually just do it just for the selfies. Hashtag nature. Hashtag no filters. Like, seriously, apple picking? Oh God. No. Now, a third bad idea is to go to a club or nightclub. Again, this is not a very good place if you actually want to talk to your partner and connect to them. Unless all you want to do is basically not talk and just grind against each other with public. I know I sound like a grandma, but after a certain age, one, you can't really stay up that late anymore because you might fall asleep even on your way to the club. Never mind whilst you're in the club. 2, if you can still stay up that late, you will probably find the music in the club way too loud. I mean, I know when we were younger, we used to go a lot to clubs and the music seemed fine, but after a certain age, it's like your ears are getting sensitive. Or maybe it's lack of training, who knows. And 3, again, after a certain age, and especially when you're in a relationship and you want to grow your relationship, you will probably want to discuss things with your partner related to both of you and, talking about important things that would actually help both of you. Or maybe just, grind against each other with public. Another somewhat bad idea is go geocaching. Now, if you don't know what geocaching is, There are a lot of apps for this out there, and basically you log into an app and they show you on that map in your area a lot of hidden type boxes that you need to go and find and then write your name on it, or just find a certain object within that box and just mark it on the list and then go to the next one and so on. It's similar like Pokemon hunting, but less with, you know, the reward being in middle of the road or in a building that you don't have access to go into. However, I've tried this and honestly it was quite frustrating because the map was not accurate, and we ended up going round and round a tree for like 10 minutes until we got so frustrated we just left it and just went home. On the other hand, it might be a good thing because, you know, it makes you walk out of the house and, you know, put in some miles. But you might as well do that walking through a park or a forest and admire the scenery rather than getting frustrated because you're not finding, you know, the box that you should find that should be exactly there what the app shows you, but it's not. Try to keep date nights as fun as possible rather than doing things that will get both of you frustrated. The fifth bad idea is watch a sunrise. Unless both of you are very early risers, I would advise you not to do this on a date night. And I mean, technically it would be date morning, but you know. First of all, you have to actually wake up about half an hour to an hour before the sunrise. Go and actually find a place from where you could actually see the sunrise properly. That means to know which side the sun actually rises. And second, know an exact location from where you can actually see it properly. And the sunrise actually lasts for like, I don't know, 10-20 minutes, and then what? Going back to sleep? It is a good challenge to do once, maybe twice, but again, unless both of you are very early risers, I would suggest you don't do it. I'm sure if I would do this with my husband, he would be up for it because he wakes up at about, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning, but I do like my sleep. And for me, it's quite difficult to wake up way too early in the morning. And I don't like it. And it's cold outside now. Now, if you still want to go ahead and do it, just check with your partner first that they are okay to wake up that early just to see the sunrise. My personal suggestion is to just go and watch a sunset. This is a lot more likely to happen, a lot easier to do, and for everyone to be happy. Now, another bad idea, and I think slightly weird, is to go foraging for edible plants and make dinner out of them. There are so many problems with this one, I cannot even start. Like, seriously? Again, this is somewhat along the lines of the apple picking date. This used to be a survival thing back in the day. Whereas now, obviously, we can just go to the supermarket and get whatever we need. I bet your great-grandmother would be so proud of you that they worked, and generations after them, so hard to make things easier for our generations, and now we're just going back to that. And also, do you actually know how real plants look like in real life? Would you actually recognize them if you would go out on a field? Would you even know which one are edible and which not? Now, just bear in mind, in ancient times, most poisons were made out of plants anyway. How do you know right now by looking at a plant, is this poisonous or not? I mean, yes, some of them you might recognize because you see them in the supermarket, but again, once you see the plant out in the field, how do you know which one is edible and which not? Again, unless you are trained and really confident in knowing what plants to choose to cook with and what not, I would just suggest to, leave it to professionals. Go to a supermarket, it's safer for everyone included. Or if you still want to do some sort of foraging, but safer, why not make your own garden at home, work on that together, call that a date idea, and grow plants together and then eat that from your own garden. But at least you have the certainty that that plant is edible. Again, my grandma would be so proud to see what we call date ideas these days. But I must say, apple picking was my favorite one. Hands down, is the funniest ever. I need to call my mom now and share the news with her. Apple picking is actually a date idea, not work anymore. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and let me know if you want me to do a second part to this video with more crazy and stupid, honestly stupid date ideas. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and feel free to share it with your friends.
hours later.
As you guys probably guessed it already, we actually went with the apple picking because I called my mom and told her about it, and she actually invited us to pick some apples at her house because she had so many. They were just falling on the floor and she doesn't really have what to do with all of them. So we just decided to go ahead and pick some apples. This is how they look. I know they don't look like the perfect apples you get in the supermarket, but at least we know for sure that these are 100% organic and have nothing sprayed on them.